Okay, we're going to start here. We're going to play on just a normal final mix difficulty, because I also want to have a bit of a feeling for like how difficult certain fights are. Usually I will be playing most of these games on proud mode, because I can absolutely beat them in my sleep. But for this testing purposes, I think we're going to go with just a normal final mix mode. The camera settings I couldn't give two damns about, so I'm just going to keep it on auto. I don't know what keep the vibrations on. I don't even know if the PS4 controller on PC, like, it probably has like rumble support in this game, otherwise they wouldn't ask. It probably does, yeah. So, how is everybody doing here today? I'm going to skip this cutscene because it's going to nuke my channel for copyrights on YouTube. And we don't want that. Also, I'm going to be skipping all the cutscenes in general. This is just like a gameplay research project. So we don't necessarily want or need to watch through all the subpar... I think I'm using a Xbox controller, which is hilarious because this game was originally made for the PlayStation. I'm gonna go with sword. That's what I usually do. I know it's not... I don't think it is the optimal. I think in speedruns you lose the shield and pick the staff, right? I'm not speedrunning here necessarily. I'm just playing through casually, and it's going to be relatively fast just because I know this game relatively well. That said, though, as a child, I always gave up the staff because I was an idiot. Magic in this game is actually pretty good. It's not as good as Kingdom Hearts 3, mind you, but magic in this game is pretty good. And a lot of things rely on the amount of MP you have for their power, like certain finishing moves, like Ripple Drive, that kind of thing. And if you give up on the staff, you get 1 or 2 less max MP ups throughout the entire game, which we're probably not going to even get to a point where that's gonna matter, like very high level. But you never know. Maybe I'll do a little bit of off-screen grinding, and I want to try to like see how the Sephiroth Super Boss feels. You don't know. You never know. But for now, this is the main reason that we're doing this. I just want to get a feel for the combat, for the enemy behavior, and that kind of stuff. So that's what we're doing here today. I keep forgetting that you can also skip cutscene on a lot of these tutorials. Yeah, you can lock on. I know your lock on system is better than mine. You don't have to like rub it in my face. Still not entirely sure like how actually like on a programmatic level this lock-on system works. I think it's just checking whether or not something is on screen to begin with, and if it's not, then it turns around. But as you can see here, like it's very intelligent. I'll give it that. It's very smart about like how it keeps you both on screen, and I'm not entirely sure how it does that. It's very, very well done. Like, this game is, at this point, 21 years old, I think? 22 years old? Something like that? 2003? 2002? 2001? It's been a long-ass time, and this was... I'm gonna say something that's probably... that I'm gonna regret, but this might actually be, like, one of the first 3D games that had a halfway decent camera in it. Because this was pretty early PS2, and I don't think there's a single PS1 game, and very few Nintendo 64 games, which have good 3D cameras. So this very likely is one of the first games with a decent 3D camera. Which is insane to think about, because I remember playing this game not that long after it came out, right? I was a very, very, like, stupid little kid, but I remember playing this game very vividly. And also the UVs on those door handles are fucked. Absolutely horrible. Holy shit. We can even skip this one. Okay, so as for the choices that you can make here, this influences for anybody who doesn't know Kingdom Hearts, right? I mean, if you're following along with the development of my game, I'm assuming that you have a passing knowledge of Kingdom Hearts, right? Because that's one of the big inspirations on my game, along with Dark Souls, and a few other things in a more minor way, mostly Kingdom Hearts. But I feel like a lot of people might still not know this. The questions you answer here influence your experience gained throughout the journey. And I think it's as simple... I never can remember actually how they influence it, but I think it's as simple as the top one gives you more experience up to level 40. The middle one will just give you a normal experience curve, and the final one will give you a slower experience curve at the beginning, but then once you reach level like 50 or 60, the last few levels are faster. Meaning that, in theory, in exact numbers, the bottom one is the least amount of experience required to get to level 100. Or 99, I believe, in this game, I don't remember. But for like speedrun purposes, if you're only going to run through the story of the game, which is what we're doing, again, not exactly a speedrun, but the top one is the best, because you're not going to get far along. You're going to get to like level 40 or 50, and that's pretty much it. And that's kind of what this is designed to do, I feel, is it's designed to give you an opportunity to get an experience curve that is just more leaning towards going through the story of the game and nothing else, because it does seem to line up roughly with that, being about ending at roughly level 40 or so. This is the only fucking thing that you can't skip. There's also one cutscene in a bit, which is kind of funny. I know way too much like useless stuff about this game. There's also a cutscene after a world or two where it starts from Riku's point of view. Like, he opens his eyes and that's how you see the cutscene. You can't skip that cutscene until you go into like the external camera and you actually see Riku. You can't skip that cutscene while you're at Riku's point of view, and I'm not entirely sure why. Because that has to have been a intentional decision, right? That can't be just an oversight or a bug, surely. But what could lead to a decision like that? I'm very happy, by the way, that in my game now, I finally have a better system for dealing with hitting multiple enemies, because the way I used to do that, right, is I just, when I hit an enemy, it would turn off the damage box on my weapon until the end of the attack, at which point, with the next attack, it would get re-enabled. But that means that every attack could only ever hit one enemy, and you couldn't do satisfying shit like I just did there. Right now, I changed that to every time you hit an enemy during an attack, it gets added to a list, and whenever you overlap with any other enemy, it just checks, hey, are you already in the list? And at the end of the attack, it just clears that list. Meaning that you can hit multiple enemies in one swing, but you can't hit the same enemy twice with one swing. It's not an idea that I came up with myself, I'm going to be real with you. Also kind of want to just like check out okay, the path disappears behind. This is the first time I've actually seen that. I've played this game probably about 15 times. All the way through. I've never noticed the fact that these tiles disappear behind you. Huh. That is actually remarkably interesting to me. I mean, it's cool. Nobody ever would notice that though, right? They could just remove it when this cutscene loads in and nobody would have noticed. Because, I'm gonna be frank with you, if I didn't notice for 20 some years of playing this game, again, I've played this game 15 times at least. The tutorial section itself, probably a lot more than that even. If I only now noticed, I might be literally the first person in history to notice this, just because I was jumping down there. Well, it's probably somebody that noticed at some point, somewhere, but still, my point stands. Why go through that effort? And that is because Kingdom Hearts 1 goes through a lot of effort with things that people will never notice, whereas a lot of future games are a bit more efficient about how they spend their time in development, let's just say it that way, which I respect, but I also respect the idea of, you know, it doesn't matter if not everybody's gonna see it. Making a lot of, like, interesting, fun little content is going to... skip cutscene. It is going to make the whole world feel more alive, and it does do that. I wanted to check out the stream here because I think I can pop out the chat, which is a little bit better because I'm looking at my own restream here and that can't be good for my bandwidth. And on YouTube you have a pop out chat functionality, which I prefer. Yeah, this way I don't have to keep this open, which I think would probably be for the best. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Okay, so this also doesn't show me the amount of viewers, which is better for my mental health, frankly. Yeah, I don't need to be reminded of what I need to get. I've played this game about 1 million different times. Well, I know what I need to get. That said, it's been a while since I've actually fought like Titus and Waka and those kind of characters. So maybe we should do that. Like, again, we're not doing a speedrun here necessarily, right? We want to just check out the gameplay and the game feel. We want to check out how the AI functions and how it makes decisions and when it acts and when it doesn't act. And mostly that has to do with heartless enemies. But, you know, while we're here, we might as well just beat up some kids. I also don't really care about what you have to say, Titus. I just want to beat you up. Honestly. Specifically Riku, because Riku is the most boss fighty of them all. So, yeah, I think Titus literally just runs at you, and when he's close enough, he'll just do an attack. And how does he work? Does he do a random attack, or does he... I think he does a random attack. Yeah, it seems like he just does a random attack. But also, this is the important bit, right? Because when I'm attacking him, he sometimes also like does the backflip to gain a little bit more distance from me again. And my last... Yeah, that's the thing that I was thinking about in my game as well, right? The last attack of a combo should have more knockback. So that when you go in for the next combo... And the parrying system, which never returns in any other Kingdom Hearts game, by the way. Also, yeah, we're hold on, wait a second. Can I not? I don't know how Twitch moderation tools work. I should be able to, like... I don't know how this works. Can I slash mute? I'm just going to pretend like I know what I'm doing. Okay, so next up I don't care about any of that. Next up, how is your AI different, right? I want to fight you. I feel like your AI is not going to be any different at all. You're just going to run after me. And you just have slightly different combat animations which are more annoying to deal with. That's going to be... You do run away a lot more, though. You run after me, you have a faster walking speed than Titus. And then when you hit me, you run away to get some distance. And again here, when I attack you, you at some point run away from me. I feel like that's a thing like not all the enemies are gonna do. I think that the running away thing is probably something that like is a boss AI thing, which funnily enough might mean that all these three characters, or these four characters here rather, might be technically classified as boss characters. Except Waka being the absolute mad lad for experience. This is the way you grind to level 99 on Destiny Islands, people. You just hit these guys' balls all day long. Okay, so here we also have a thing where if I do a couple of attacks, he just starts not getting knocked back anymore. And does a revenge attack, which is also something that I have implemented for myself. So, which was honestly based on the way Kingdom Hearts 2. Well, it's a simpler version of the way Kingdom Hearts 2 does things for me. Because I think Kingdom Hearts 2's revenge value system works on a combo basis. Every time you do a combo finisher, it adds 1 to its, the enemy's revenge value, or the boss's revenge value rather. So if you never finish a combo, you should never like get stuck in a revenge attack, other than the desperation moves that happen through HP triggers. Like if you get to a certain amount of HP, bosses will just do a like this is a more proper revenge attack, right? You do like almost 2 combos. You can't do 1 combo, and then hold on, you can do 1 combo here, and then if you try to do a second one, he does that, and you don't finish that because otherwise you die. I'm not gonna waste a potion on Rico actually. I'm not gonna lose to Riku, right? His damage box seems all kinds of fucked up, and I'm all about that! I actually almost got hit there. There we go. I still got it. Told you I wasn't gonna waste a potion on Riku. I even gained a potion from that, but I wasn't really paying attention too much to his AI. I was just trying to show off what I already knew. So let's do a round 2 here. So what do we do? He just... Okay, this one, he jumps towards me if I make the distance too long. And aside from that, he just, when he gets close enough, doesn't attack. And again, we already know that if I hit him again just after a combo, he goes into his like little ball form. He does a Samus. But he also has that defensive state where I just can't hit him altogether. And I actually lost Riku, so he can go fuck himself. Okay, let's go do something else. Let's actually move on with the story of this game, which I don't think we've gotten the cloth yet. I'm sorry, what? You're supposed to be able to throw this further. Not entirely sure. Look, I've seen this in speedruns and I just want to try it, okay? If you put this thing in the right place, you can grab onto that ledge over there. But I suppose I'll just grab onto this ledge. I probably just don't know how to strat. That's probably what's going on. It's been a while since I've done any Kingdom Hearts speedrunning, right? I did a little Birth by Sleep Terra running like way back in the day. I got down to like 1 hour 10, I believe, something like that, which is very, very slow for a single character speedrun of Birth by Sleep, specifically Terra, which is the fastest of them all. At least for running, he's not the... Also, for any Kingdom Hearts fans here, isn't it fun now knowing that this is Xehanort's house? The big bad of Kingdom Hearts up until Kingdom Hearts 3 fucking grew up in this little shed over here. I quite like that idea. That's just fun to me. That's cute. We all jumped onto this thing when we were kids, and there's a save point in here as well. Which actually, fun question. Can you see the save point from here? No, you can't. Okay. That's where our big bad grew up. Literally his childhood home. I don't think I've played this game since I found that out. And that's day 1 on Destiny Islands. Which took me 21 minutes, which is about like 18 minutes more than it should have probably. It was also like 5 times as fast as I would have done as a kid. As a kid, that probably took me like a week to do. Okay, I do want to actually try out the 3-on-1 battle just to see. The air is probably the same, just all 3 of them, because it's always a chaotic mess. But I do want to see if I can note any like small differences or how the AI Titus is on Rico's Island in this day. That's right. I forgot about that. Just to see if there's anything that... If there's nothing new, maybe something will stand out more to me when there's 3 of them, right? I also hate grabbing onto this fucking tree. Well, we'll be fine. Have I noticed how much I hate Kingdom Hearts 1 platforming? Because Kingdom Hearts 1 platforming is the actual worst. It's so non-intuitive. The way to get onto that tree is to not press any direction and press the jump button. Tell me how that makes sense. Titus, shut up. I just wanna 3-on-1 battle this. Okay, so... Yeah, this very much seems like just the 3 battles that we fought before, just at the same time. So, that answers one question at least, which I kind of expected that. Maybe Wakka is a little less aggressive with the ranged attacks? No, he's not. He is most definitely not. He's still very aggressive with the ranged attacks. Let's go get some fish and pretend like that never happened. Also, you can lock onto the fish. Another thing that took me years to figure out. Well, it's not like I spent years on Destiny Islands as a kid, but like years after initially playing this game, I figured out that you can lock onto the fish and make that so much easier. Because otherwise, getting those fish can be a bit of a pain. Hey, look, we've got a cutscene with very big future game implications in it, which definitely weren't planned out at this time, but we're gonna skip it because we're not watching cutscenes here. If you want to watch the entire story of Kingdom Hearts, go watch my podcast about it. At least that way you're watching my content rather than the content somebody else made like 20 years ago, which is entirely fair, right? It just occurred to me that I don't have any like stream overlay set up because it's been about 5 million years since I last live streamed on Twitch. So maybe I need to... Excalibur is a stupid name. Maybe I need to set that up between now and next time. Also, text bubble cutscenes you can't skip. Except sometimes you can, I believe. I think sometimes you can skip them. Now, if I lose this, I'm just going to like delete my account, okay? There's no reason in hell that you should be losing this foot race. Oh my god, I'm going to lose this foot race. I got stuck in a bush. Oh no. This is way closer than I'd like it to be. Hello? There we go. Okay, I'm going to lose this, officially. Oh, Riku fucks up there. That's right. So I can get a little bit of a shortcut on him here. Okay, I still win. That's good. I think it's actually faster to walk through the water rather than... because you don't need to do that animation. That's right. I still won. And I got a pretty stone, which I can sell for some money in Traverse Town, which we might use that money for something. Anyway, we need coconuts, and we need fresh water. And the 2 last mushrooms. But I don't really care about that. So let's just push the water aside, get a mushroom. Again, this was a multiple day journey for me when I was a kid. Now, it's just second nature. It's just kind of how you do things. There must be a way to RNG manipulate these damn coconuts, right? Because they are an actual pain in the ass. Or is it just a matter of you want to hit as many of these trees at once as possible? I think that might just be it. I think you only need 2 coconuts. And we go to get fresh water, and then we're out of Destiny Islands and into the actual game. Where we can start examining actual enemy behavior. And boss behavior as well. Like, Darkseid isn't very interesting from a boss perspective, he just kind of stands there and he's very static. Which is fine. Initially I wanted to model the first boss in my game after Darkseid as well. But that turned out to be a little bit more problematic than I thought it would be. Because, turns out, having a... having like a static or a skeletal mesh character, like a rigged character, with collision that matches its actual like mesh rather than a simplified like collision mesh that moves with it, is quite tricky and quite computationally expensive. So I'm not gonna do that. Instead, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pretend like that was never an idea to begin with. I also think that my current ID for a boss fight is more fun. It's like there's no homage to Kingdom Hearts being paid through it, which is kind of too bad. A little, maybe. But it is a more fun fight, and I think that is, in the end, more important. I'm not gonna bother trying to, like, fight all these Heartless. I did say, by the way, that beating Waka, or returning Waka's ball attack to him, is the best way to grind to level 99 in Destiny Islands. That is actually a lie, because the best way to grind to level 99 in Destiny Islands is beating up all of these Heartless here over and over again. Because these give... oh no, they only give 1 experience as well. Then it might be quite 50-50, to be honest. I think this does give you more experience faster. Let's try to figure out what these guys are doing, because I think they just... do they pick a random spot, or do they always try to come up behind you before they attack? I think they specifically are trying to come up behind me before they attack. Yeah, that's what they're doing. That is an interesting thing to do. Let me make a note of that real quick, after I go somewhere a little bit more safe. Let's go into Xehanort's house. And let's open up a sticky note here somewhere. Shadows try to move behind you before they attack. That is a very simple and yet surprisingly clever way of making somewhat more dynamic enemies than just they walk up to you and they punch you in the face. Let me test that out one more time. That one actually punched me in the face, and that one also punched me in the face. So maybe it's not actually the case. Even if it's not the case, it's still a good idea. I don't know if I'll get healed, by the way. Is that a high potion? Did he just drop it? Oh no, that's just a normal potion. You can see by the size. Let's get a bit of HP back, because I don't know if the dark side battle here is going to heal me before I go into it. I am guessing probably not. Okay, so now these shadows actually do just straight up hit you in the face. It's just... it just was very lucky that they always ended up behind me there. But again, there's only one thing better than actually stealing ideas from other people's art, and that is misinterpreting their art, figuring out that you didn't interpret it right, and then having a unique idea of your own. That is honestly, like, you have no idea how many of my ideas, specifically from like a storytelling perspective, happen because I jump to a conclusion while like watching a movie or something. Then that conclusion ends up being wrong, and that just means that I now have an idea of my own. So yeah, as I said, the dark side battle isn't all too interesting. Aside from like the technical perspective of you can actually like jump up on this moving thing, which is quite like technically impressive. Especially for PS2. I mean, Shadow of the Colossus of course did it way better, but Shadow of the Colossus is a PS3 game running on a PS2. As in, it's insanely technically impressive what that game does and how it looks. But fun thing, you can also hit its head and it actually deals more damage, I believe. And that's one thing that I will have to figure out at some point, actually. I do have a decent idea about it now. But I have one boss fight in my game, which is actually 2 characters. Which like share an HP bar. But I don't know how I'm going to deal with that yet, to be honest. Purely like from a technical perspective. And this reminds me a little bit of that. It's one character that takes damage in different ways depending on where you hit it. And guard armor is an even better example of that, which we're about to run into. For all intents and purposes, guard armor is just 5 enemies that share 1 HP bar. Well, actually, it's probably quite easy, right? Because you just make the HP bar show the combined HP of all of the individual parts of the guard armor. Yeah, no, actually, I don't know why I was thinking that would be specifically very difficult. Because they still have their own HP bars, it's just the visual... Well, they don't have their own HP bars, but they have their own HP values. It's just the visual HP bar you see is just all of them added up together. So it's not that complicated at all. That said, we're about to run into something that is not a shadow, so let's see how that AI differs from the shadows. Oh, no, actually, hold on, we still fight shadows. We have to talk to Liam and Yuffie before the soldiers start showing up, that's right. So I'm not overly interested in the shadow AI anymore. The shadows just seemingly... They like jump towards you from where they are, and when they get underground, I have to assume what they are actually doing is they're picking a random spot in a range around Sora. Because they very much did actually show up behind me on Destiny Islands a few times there. So what they probably do is they go into attack. They just pick a random spot around you, regardless of what way you're facing. Which that works fine. It is a slight bit more interesting that way than just moving towards Sora himself. It kind of... Maybe a lot of more enemies will actually end up doing this. I'll have to pay attention to that a little bit. But that does fix a potential like cluttering issue where all the enemies get in each other's ways. Because they're all trying to move to a slightly different position rather than all trying to just move towards where Sora is. That could be very interesting. Okay, so now we have another boss fight. If we run away, he just very slowly walks towards us, but he has a ranged attack, right? Is he gonna do that at all? He is. Okay, that's good to know. So, presumably that's just on a cooldown, and so is his jump, because he's slowly walking towards me. He does also attack when I'm nowhere near him, though. So, his AI is probably just do this on a timer, do that on a timer, do that on a timer, do that on a timer. And the designers were kind of expecting you to just, like, mash your face into him for this fight to actually work. There is, like, one of the actions he can do is walking towards you for a couple of seconds. But there was also a moment there where he was just like kind of hanging out and doing nothing. And if I recall correctly, I thought I saw him strafing there a moment ago as well. Yeah, he's definitely strafing, right? He's not walking towards me. Huh, okay. Also, he deals a fuck of a ton of damage and he doesn't get knocked back. That's right, because he's a mean motherfucker. I thought I could parry that. Apparently not. Luckily, this is one of the fights that you're actually supposed to lose. You can win it. Oh, this is the cutscene I mentioned before. I can't skip this. Oh, it's not even that. You can't skip it until Riku opens his eyes. Like, right now, I can skip it. Isn't that weird? It's a cutscene that was added in the final mix version. Which is like kind of the director's cut version. Which we didn't get in America and Europe until the HD remaster. So maybe it's got something to do with that and it is an oversight, but I don't know, I highly doubt it. I also think it's quite funny that I just opened the chest in Sid's shop, but I can't open this one until Leon tells me that I can open chests with my Keyblade. And now the Soldier Heartless unlock. So let's see how they behave. I'm assuming they will just pile onto me and just start attacking me, right? That's pretty much what they do. Yeah, they just kind of run after you, and when they're close enough, they start attacking. That makes perfect sense to me, because that's how my AI works. For the most part. It seems like sometimes at a distance they still do attack though. I do wonder why that is. Like aside from them, I guess that is to break up the group, right? Because if you just have them all run after you, they will end up... Oh, they also despawn and respawn, of course. If they just end up running after you, they will just like clutter up, and that also makes them easy to then beat because you can hit all of them at once. If they sometimes just throw in a random attack, that kind of breaks them up from being one big group. That, I have to assume something like that is the reason that they just randomly attack sometimes. But I'm not entirely sure. Because again, they also despawn and respawn if you get too far away from where they initially spawned and you're not actively fighting them. So let's just fight him a little bit more head on and see what that feels like. Also, the rhythm of how a combo works and how it feels, it's... Interesting thing to note, actually, is that Sora, I think in Kingdom Hearts 2, if you don't hit anything with your Keyblade with the first hit, he doesn't even do a second hit. He just... Oh, yeah, he just does that. Never mind. Okay. So when the... That is also interesting to note, though. Because when he's not in combat, he will also only ever do the first hit. But when he is in a combat situation, seemingly he does his entire combo, except the finisher when he doesn't hit anything. Is what that seems like to me. Maybe he only does the first 2 hits over and over again. At this point in the game, that is the same thing, because he only has a 3-hit combo. That is something else to keep in mind. When my combo gets longer, I should test that as well. Because I can do 1. Oh no! Now he only does the first one. Huh. And of course, Kingdom Hearts has a pretty famous proximity combat system, which is very intuitive and quite good. So let's go to the guard armor. You know what, maybe I actually should have put this on beginner mode, because it would allow me to take more hits while experimenting with things. A little too late for that now. So far we seem to be doing well enough. This part of the fight doesn't really matter. I don't really... Okay, so... I just realized that analyzing some of the AI stuff is going to get a little bit more tricky going forward. Because Donald and Goofy are here now. And they are going to be fighting, even when I want to just watch. Okay, one other interesting thing that I want to note about guard armor here is that the body part... Holy shit, he does a lot of damage. The body part will stop taking damage at some point until you've beaten his limbs. But there isn't too much necessarily very interesting about him. He just kind of walks around. Does he even... I don't think he even necessarily like homes in on Sora or Donald and Goofy. I think he just exists and does his thing and we just kind of get in the way. Except for that one... Ah no, with that attack he definitely does. And I think with the walking feet attack he specifically goes after you as well. So he does target you. Never mind. But there he just slammed into the ground a little bit away from me. And I was nowhere near. Nobody was near him, as a matter of fact. Again, I think that in Kingdom Hearts 1, my theory for now is that a lot of these fights in Kingdom Hearts 1, the AI somewhat relies, especially for the bosses at least, it kind of relies on you fighting them head on. It's not really programmed to necessarily chase you around too much. It's just kind of doing its own thing, and in the process of fighting it, you get in its way, and that's how you get damaged. Which is very... As opposed to, for instance, Dark Souls, where the enemies, and specifically the bosses, do very much like have AI designed specifically around targeting the player. I feel like, at least the bosses I fought so far while thinking about this, I feel like the Kingdom Hearts boss fights so far do that a fair bit less. Like, obviously you have enemies that do like projectile attacks at some point, and the final fight against Ansem where he has like a bunch of fuck off lasers, right? Which specifically spawn aimed at Sora or Donald and Goofy. Those things do seek you out and target you, but for the most part I think that enemies just kind of like hang out and wait for you to go to them. Or just chase you. But the bosses don't seem to chase you. They just hang out and do their thing, and it is assumed that you will be in their immediate vicinity because that's just kind of what you do with a boss fight. Which is fair enough. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that maybe I should do that too. I want to try out a bug, a glitch, that I learned about the other day. Also, it's a text bubble thing. You can't skip that. So, apparently, you can speed up getting the first summon by doing Traverse Town 2 right away. And I just kind of want to try that out. I'm not going to use the summon, most likely. Because, frankly, I don't really care about using summons in this game. There's very few games in Kingdom Hearts where I actually do care about... hold on a moment. I want to equip this really badly. Because I can do this. Oh my god, this is going to make things so much easier. To, like, just roll around and be invincible. So, I think if you hold forward during this... you can clip through these bars. There you go! And you're not supposed to be able to do that until you get Red Trinity. Which is in the second visit to Traverse Town. So... I have officially just unlocked the keyhole without fighting the boss. I don't know. When do you usually get Red Trinity? You usually get that after your first round of worlds, right? You get Blue Trinity first, and then you get... what is this item as well? Okay, so this one doesn't open up yet until you've actually been to Merlin, which we might as well at this point. And there we have the other shrine, which will allow us to get the Simba summon early. And that's all I needed to do here. I think we still do need to eventually actually fight the opposite armor. I hope, because I do want to also just analyze that fight. I just wanted to try this out. I saw this in a video and... hold on. Okay, the bars are still there. I was going to say, are the bars now permanently gone? Because I've been in there once, because that would be kind of funny. But they're not. But I think I still can go and find Merlin now. This has very little to do with analyzing gameplay at this point. Aside from, I guess, exploiting a bug. And the fact that I'm using some environmental magic shit, which is always neat, which Kingdom Hearts doesn't nearly do enough. As a kid, I always thought that these floating rocks were animals for some reason. I don't know why. To be fair, I played this on like a CRT back in the day. And it was much darker than monitors are nowadays. So I'm going to chalk it up to that. And there we have the wizard himself, Gandalf the Blue. The good friend of the worst fucking Keyblade master ever, that being Yensid. Yensid is actually the worst though. No, we can't skip this. This definitely should be a skippable cutscene, right? But technically speaking, this is a text bubble cutscene, so I can't skip all this bullshit. It's kind of It's kind of stupid. Yeah, I can't skip it. Also, that's the fairy godmother over there. I think she turns things into carriages. She isn't herself a carriage. I don't think that's how that works at all. Also, apparently, Miss Purple Robe over there, one of the most powerful characters in the series. She can just pop into heaven and back. Wait a second, can't I? Well, at least I can do the Trinity. I could have sworn that... Do I have to do the Winnie the Pooh thing first? Can I do that even at this point? Maybe not. We'll see. We'll go talk to Sid, and if he doesn't have anything to tell us, I guess we'll just move on to Wonderland. Which, whatever I do in my game, I am very unlikely, I was going to say I can't, but I very much can. I am very unlikely to make a boss fight that's more bullshit than the Trickmaster. Oh, by the way, isn't it just amazing how this is just literally tied with different textures? Gotta love that. I don't know why I'm collecting all these treasures, by the way. This is not a 100% run. This is not anything special. I'm not going to go for all the postcards. But while I'm here, I guess I might as well take the ones that I know off the top of my head. Which is not all of them, surprisingly. I know this game very well. I don't know all the postcards by heart. I know a fair few of them. I know a lot of them I can't access at the moment. So those are going to be the only two I post in at the moment. And I don't know what the rewards for them are, but they're probably not worth it. That's a college, I don't care. And Miss Rochard, I'm not going to do any synthesis. Especially since Ultimate Weapon in the Final Mix version is insane. Yeah, I can't do anything with the Earth Shrine yet, seemingly. Oh well, let's move on. We'll come back here later. Just a little fun bug that I wanted to show off. That's everything about it, really. I guess we'll go to Wonderland first. Why not? So, this part of the game, I'm going to take no notes on. Because, number one, I don't have any spaceship sections in my game. And number two, the Gummy Ship in Kingdom Hearts 1 sucks. Like, real bad. And to show you that, I'm not going to move this entire time. You can't do this for every Gummy Ship mission in the game, but for the first few, you very much can. Just gonna stay in the middle of the screen, keep holding down the fire button, and we'll be fine. Shit, I hope, otherwise I'm gonna look like a fucking idiot. But yeah, those meteors give you HP back, so the couple of hits that I did just take, it's not gonna be that big a deal, because we'll get restored back to full. Isn't this just riveting gameplay? Isn't this just the best? So exciting. Look, I'm not saying that Kingdom Hearts 2 Gummy Ship missions like the on-rails sections there are necessarily amazing. I think they're pretty cool. I think Kingdom Hearts 2 is the best Gummy Ship in the series. I don't think Kingdom Hearts 3 is as good as people give it credit for. Well, the game itself is pretty good. The Gummy Ship specifically being open world is just... okay, sure. Why? But I think we can all agree that... oh, I'm definitely not going to survive if I don't move here, am I? Actually, I probably would have. Yeah, I probably would have survived. I mean, it's easy to say that in hindsight. Like, I probably would have survived, but I think I would have survived there. And let's get going. If there's one world that I'm not going to go through thoroughly and explore all the way through, it's Wonderland, because this world gives me a headache. Yet another cutscene that I can't skip because it's not technically a voiced cutscene. This one, however, I can, so go fuck yourself. Didn't mean to do that because you need to do the bad thing first. Again, I've played this game, I think, about 15 times. And I always do this. I always go immediately for the drink on the table without doing this first. Also, while we're here, I think you can't actually do that yet. Huh, okay, never mind. Huh. Okay. Sure. There's a lot of things that you can do like with environmental interaction here with magic that changes the room around. And you drink this potion or this drink so often throughout doing all that. It's just kind of baked into my muscle memory at this point. So the very first time you come into the world, you actually don't need to like not do that right away. And here's another one where I'm going to go semi-speedrun mode. I'm not going to go through the entire world and find all the evidence. I'm going to get one piece and then we're going to move on. That is after the enemies that show up here, because this might be the first place where the large bodies show up. That might not be until after the trial. But large bodies do show up here, and I want to see how they act and how they work. And I don't care about the Cheshire Cat. So, okay, soldiers and shadows. We've seen how they work. And I think if you like do this, you can despawn some enemies. I seem to recall something like that, but apparently it's not working. You probably need to do it a little bit faster than that. We're pretty quick anyway. So, those are the footprints. And that is me having all the evidence I need. Let's go back to the Queen's Castle. There's like 5 pieces of evidence. If you get all of them, you are guaranteed to have Donald and Goofy with you in the next battle. But that's pretty much the only thing here. And even then, you can still find the proper one if you check which one drops ever so slightly earlier than the rest. And I think it is the middle one. It's a matter of a couple of frames, so it probably isn't. It is! Okay, actually did a good thing. And then we have the tower fight, which is pretty quick and easy. Should I check out the card AI? Because the cards can very much like fuck me over real bad. Let's give it a shot. This card's just kind of hanging out and doing nothing. That one as well. Okay, so these guys just have a perception cone, and if you're in that perception cone, they chase you, and if there's nothing in that perception cone, they just kind of hang out and do nothing. Okay, they don't even wander around searching for you, they just kind of, like, do nothing. Yeah, so yeah, I managed to shake 1 or 2 of them off by getting them stuck on the other side of the tower. Okay, point taken. Like, even my basic enemy AI is not that dumb, but there's quite a few of them here, so if you couldn't shake them off at all, that probably would end up being more annoying than anything else. And then what we do is we lock onto one of the cards, go to the other side of the tower, and that gives us a... I actually died! Wow! Huh. How about that? Oh, and now I need to do the fucking thing again. Sure. This was in the time before we had restart as an option. Or retry. I could swear it's the middle one again. It's probably not. Unless it's predetermined when you enter the room. Is it predetermined when you enter the room? Is it predetermined by what piece of evidence you get? Probably not, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't need the strat of watching which one drops first. So surely it's predetermined by when you enter this room. But that also doesn't make a huge amount of sense, actually, because this is very clearly like a different room that gets loaded in. And when we go back when we die, surely it has to reload that room back in, and whatever, like, value it uses for randomizing those boxes. I think we just got lucky with it being in the middle twice, is the most likely answer. Because surely when the room reloads after you... I guess we get to see if it drops in the middle again. Because I actually suck. Turns out. Also, hello. I don't like the fact that I have to sit through his text bubbles every single time I die. This was supposed to be the easy world. Okay, is it the middle one again? You can't tell me it's the middle one again. If it's the middle one again, it has to be like... It has to use the, like, time that you created your save data. Okay, it's not, I'm just an idiot. Okay, good. So it is actually just random. And now we're going to have to do it without Goofy, which is... I suppose we still have Donald, at least, right? That's the thing. That's good. Oh, if you've never seen Kingdom Hearts gameplay in your life, you're gonna have a lot of fun with me talking about Donald and Goofy in this fucking Final Fantasy-esque world. Where we fight the literal embodiment of evil and darkness, but also Captain Hook. Okay. You stay there. I said you stay there. There we go. That's how it's done, and I'll learn Scan. So I can actually see how much HP everything has. That's a very good point, actually. Is this the same room as before, just with different, like, object loaded in, or does it just load in a different room? I'm assuming it just loads in a different room, because that would be far easier. Actually, it probably is not that different, one way or the other. Let's go to the save point and heal. It is superior to Disney Infinity. This is not Skylanders for Disney. This is Final Fantasy with Disney, which is very different from Skylanders with but with Disney. Oh, we have large body now. I want to check out how his AI works. So let's get rid of these soldiers first. And Donald, don't you dare kill that thing. Okay, so how do you work? Donald, I said no, Donald, don't kill that thing. I want to see how his brain works. Donald, don't. Yeah, he just kind of runs towards you when he attacks, doesn't he? That's kind of just everything that he does. Oh, these things are also fairly interesting because they are flying ranged enemies. I have literally one of these in my game. And they just kind of hang out, I feel. Like, they don't need to necessarily move close to you to attack you. The question is, do they? And it's kind of hard to answer because Donald and Goofy keep getting it. He just blew himself up. Donald, I want you to know that you deserve this. Please never wake up. I said never wake up, you fuck! Okay. Yeah, they just kind of hang out and then they move into what I have to assume is a random location. And then they just attack you again. Which is probably better than what I do. Because for me, when you are in their range, they just keep attacking you. So let me take a note on that. Yeah, now playing games is work. It's just here. I'm just here analyzing how it works. I'm not having fun. Flying range enemy attack, then move to new location instead of keeping attack state. The funniest thing is that even if I don't interpret the things correctly about what is actually happening, technically speaking, under the hood, this still gives me good ideas on how to improve a lot of AI. Also, a lot of improvement for my game feel will come down to better animations than I have right now, because of course the characters in this game have far superior animation and far more character in their movement than me. Or than my game, rather. Well, also than me, because I don't deform when I move. Usually. Okay, let's see if we can actually do the thing where we don't trigger any spawns here. That would be fantastic. Donald and Goofy, if you fuck this up for me, I'm gonna kill you. So far, Donald hasn't fucked it up yet. I fucking hate this cat. Okay. Donald, don't fuck this up! Or Goofy. But let's be honest, if anybody is gonna fuck this up, it's gonna be Donald. Now, I need to make it over there without spawning in any enemies. And I failed. Okay, let's fight some enemies. I think these are all enemies that we have seen before, so I don't really need to pay too much attention to their AI. But then we're going to get to the Trickmaster, which, again, from what I remember, the Trickmaster is another one of those bosses that just kind of does his thing. And unless we're talking about a projectile attack, the only way you get damage is when you get in his way. He just walks around, lights his sticks on fire, and then with those on-fire sticks, he does shoot projectiles at you, but aside from that, he just kind of hangs out. Let's see if I'm correct. Oh, he also has that attack. Yeah, okay, so I'm assuming when there's two characters around him in close proximity, he does that, and when there's one very close by, he does that like hammer fist attack. Kind of hard to test these things out with Donald and Goofy breathing down my neck though. Kingdom Hearts 3 is made in Unreal. And the Kingdom Hearts 3 tech demo that they released, of course, also made in Unreal. I'm pretty sure that Kingdom Hearts 4, which is going to be released at some point in my lifetime, maybe, is made in Unreal. The mobile game that we've been waiting on for a mortal age, I don't know that that's made in Unreal, but I think it is. That I would have to look up. I know that Melody of Memory, which is the rhythm game, they made after 3, to recap everything up to 3 for anybody who's just jumping in. That one was actually made in Unity for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because they also wanted to make a Switch port. And maybe Unity was just a little bit more lightweight, which is very much needed for the Switch. But you can do that in Unreal as well, because in the end, it's just a mobile version of a game which runs on Switch, right? Okay, let's take a look at what this motherfucker does, because again, I think he just kind of hangs out, right? He just kind of walks around. Does he walk specifically towards... He does walk specifically towards the player, I think. Yeah, no, he does. Like, this first game here, Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, these games predate Unreal being a publicly available engine. By, like, quite a bit. The game I'm playing right now is 21 years old. Why is it rotating? I mean, you're supposed to get up on the table and then hit the boss, but if you like do an attack at the apex of your jump, you can still just combo him anyway. And then when you hit him a couple of times, he comes down and you can go absolutely apeshit on him. And then you do want to get a little bit of distance, I believe. Oh no, he doesn't do a revenge or a desperation. I don't think it has been publicly available all that time. I think I'd have to go back and check, but I do believe that initially, for like the first few years of Unreal Engine, it was very much an in-house engine that they used. In much the same way that like Ubisoft's current engine that they use, I forget the name. You can't, to best of my knowledge, do correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't use that as just somebody trying to license it. It took until, I believe, Unreal 3 for it to become publicly available, which was maybe Unreal 2? I don't know. Before they started calling it Unreal 2 and 3, that's for damn sure. Unreal 3 is a retcon name. It wasn't called Unreal 3 initially. They eventually changed it to that because it became publicly available. And I think it wasn't called Unreal 3 until they started planning for Unreal 4, and I died. Like, technically, you still license it today, right? It's just like you can download it off of their website without going through approval previously. But you still have a license. It's a license where you share revenue and don't pay up front. Good God, I might actually just move on to Deep Jungle after this rather than Colosseum. Just to get Cure, because I don't like not having Cure. That said, I don't know why I'm not using Magic. Because it runs out very quickly, that's why. But it also refills very quickly at this stage in the game, so... Fuck do I know. So yeah, for this boss fight, he does actually chase you a little bit more than I thought he did. But he does get a little bit confused when you're not in the middle of the room. If you're at the edge of the room, he gets a little confused. Donald and Goofy can die for all I care. Matter of fact, it might actually be better for me if they die, because that allows me to analyze this guy's behavior a little bit more. Okay, please just fuck off. You deal way too much damage for being this early. I hate this boss fight, okay? This game has a real issue, specifically Kingdom Hearts 1, with being very front-loaded with the difficult boss fights. Part of that is the fact that you don't have any curing abilities yet. I do have a... Fuck, that's not what I meant to do! I have potions. I forgot I had potions. How can I forget I have potions? Because usually, pretty soon after you start the game, again, probably the next one we're going to do, the 16, okay, I was under the impression that it wasn't licensable until way after. But if there's 16 games made with Unreal 1, apparently there was. Still, this was made in that time. This was made in the early 2000s. So, yeah, not an Unreal game. This is probably an arbitrary engine. This very much predates any modern engine. Well, if you want to say Unreal 1 or Unreal 2 is a modern engine, that is kind of stretching the definition of modern engine, I think. But those did exist before this, obviously. But the way we think about engines nowadays, early 2000s, not as much of a thing. Okay, now actually let's use the potion. And you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna use the Mega Ether as well, just to get a little bit of fire damage. And that was highly not worth it. Luminous engine, it could very well be that it's called that, but I believe it is a proprietary engine that it was made in. I know that they had a proprietary engine for Kingdom Hearts 3 initially, and then they switched over to Unreal 4, and that is part of the reason that the development for that game took so goddamn long. Is because halfway through development they switched engines, which is just painful. Like, of course you can reuse a lot of assets. Believe me, I know that that is painful. Like, the fact that you have assets doesn't mean that you don't need to, like, redo a lot of work when you switch engines. So the fact that they switched halfway through development into Unreal from their own proprietary engine is part of the reason. It's not the entire reason, but it's definitely part of the reason that you can go fuck yourself. No, don't do that! Donald, do you have cure yet? Please tell me that you have cure. I don't think Donald has cure yet. Yeah, it's Square Enix's engine. Yeah, so it's a proprietary in-house engine. Which, especially back in, like, these days, like, early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, was very much just the norm. It's still used... Oh, I'm sure it's still used for a lot of things, but less than it was before, because I know Kingdom Hearts 3 switched from their engine to Unreal 4, and maybe the Final Fantasy 15 runs on their own engine. I think it probably does. I don't think that's an Unreal game. But it definitely seems like Square has something going on with Epic for Unreal. Because... God damn it. There's not a lot of games that have the Unreal Engine splash screen. And the funny thing about Unreal, and it's actually quite infuriating, is that unlike Unity, which when you don't pay... Well, they changed that after the whole PR mistake. But Unity like adds in a splash screen when you don't pay. Unreal Engine, you're technically not allowed to add in a splash screen with their logo on it, unless they give you explicit permission to do so, which pretty much is like is an extra license. I mean, you can still do it. It's probably like it's not going to actually be an issue if you do it, most likely. But technically speaking, you're not allowed to without their express permission. It's not part of the license of using Unreal to use their logo on a splash screen to show that your game was made in their engine, unless they approve. Which is just infuriating. Like, it's not that big a deal. I don't want to use their logo in my splash screen or anything. It's just... It feels like a very Apple kind of move, right? It's just like the arrogance in that move annoys me. But Kingdom Hearts has that splash screen logo. The PC version is exclusive on the Epic's Game Store still. So I feel like Square and Epic have something going on there. So I assume that in the future there's going to be, if not specifically just for Kingdom Hearts, maybe Square as a whole going to be using Unreal more. I don't know. With engines like Unity and Unreal being so relatively affordable now to use, it just doesn't make a lot of sense for most developers going forward, I don't think, to develop their own proprietary engines. Because developing an engine, and then you also still have to develop the game in that engine, right? And developing an engine is fucking expensive. And if you only develop an engine for like 20 games before you have to refresh the engine, that's not a good use of your time and money. I missed that. Oh, no you don't! No! Die! Die! Thank you! I distinctly remember reading a page on the Unreal website saying that you need permission. Unreal splash screen logo. License or something like that? Yeah, the EULA doesn't come with a trademark license, so you're not permitted to use the Unreal Engine 4 or similar splash screen without an additional agreement. Again, it's probably not an issue. They're not going to make an issue out of it, but I have to assume, because that would be a Unity-level bad PR move. But technically speaking, you're not allowed to unless you get explicit permission. Because it's not part of EULA to use their trademarked stuff. Do you have? Did you put that link in Discord? Because I would be interested in that. Again, I'm not going to put in... Yeah, you can't send links in Twitch chat. Or at least not on my Twitch chat. I don't know if that's a setting, but yeah, no links in Twitch chat. So let's actually save. Do I have any other save files? I do have a bunch of other save files. Holy fuck. Cloud saves. Fucking amazing. Love it. Gummy ship. Let's go get myself a cure spell because I am entirely done about dying. And now we do the most PS1 thing ever again. This looks so bad. When we get to the next world, I'll check the Discord. Because if they have a page on their own website detailing when you can and cannot use it, still, that should then be in their EULA and not on a separate page on their website, because it being on a website... on their website just like that, I mean, EULAs also are barely legally binding, but just having that permission given broadly through a page on their website is even less legally binding, so I don't know. But presumably they changed things about their EULA if they changed their stance on this as well. So I'll check that out in a moment. Like, just take a screenshot of this and tell somebody that this is a PlayStation 2 game. They will laugh their fucking ass off. Like, aside from the fact that it's obviously being rendered at 4K at the moment, 1440p actually, I think. They will laugh their actual ass off. This does not look like a PS2 game. And I know that it's like an art style thing, but it's really weird. Luckily, they don't lean in too hard in the very low poly style in any other Kingdom Hearts game for the gummy ship. It's only this game that really does that very leaned in. Everything else, the ships still are very low poly, but the environments aren't. Let me check Discord, because I am interested to learn about that. Unreal Engine branding. From May 19, 2021, we're updating the Unreal Engine logo. We've redrawn the U icon to make it simpler and more balanced in the surrounding circle. And we paid somebody way too much money to do that, probably. This update design refreshed our look. Yeah. All the creative assets are still available to download on this page. Have been updated, so if you're using our logo, please ensure that you're using the updated version moving forward. That does sound very inviting. Looking to implement the Unreal Engine logo in your Unreal Engine powered project for all the marketing materials, you can access approved Unreal Engine logos here. The preferred logos to be shown. While all licenses can enter into the Unreal Engine trademark license, please note that we withhold the right to refuse permission to use a trademark on a case-by-case basis for projects that are inconsistent with Epic's brand image. Okay, so they turn it around. You do have permission now, but they can revoke it, rather than you don't have permission and you have to get it. That is a lot better. That is a lot better. You know what is not a little better? This fucking dialogue box cutscene. I don't like it. I like voice cutscenes because those I can skip. Oh, we have Sabor. This is actually a pretty one-off battle. So let's see what this looks like. When I have a lot of distance to him, he jumps towards me. I think it might actually be a she. Is Sabor a dude? A girl? I don't know. Slowly walks towards me. Then when I get in close, starts attacking. Seemingly does an entire combo. Anytime it attacks. But when I get too far away in the middle of the combo, it does seem like you can actually still jump towards me. So that's one attack, that's two attack, jump, and final attack. Okay. So that seems pretty simple as far as like its AI goes. Okay, let's beat it up. This is one of those bosses that maybe was just mistaken. Maybe it was just mostly guard armor that's just kind of hanging out doing its own thing, and the danger comes from you getting in its way. Because the two other bosses that we've seen so far, which are Trickmaster and this fight, very much do actually chase you. It's just not constantly and at all times. Which is an interesting thing to note. So let me make a note on that as well, actually. Bosses only sometimes go towards you and they stand still or slowly walk toward you a lot. There seems to be an alternating... that's also a good thing to actually note. Alternating times of offense and defense slash just hanging out waiting to be hit. That is something that my boss at the moment doesn't do. It's always in like the same mindset, and that is, am I close to the character? If yes, is my timer run out? If yes, attack. Am I not close to the character? Get close to the character. So that could probably help improve the feeling of variety in my boss fights. Also, this is a fun little bug, but you can only do it at 60 FPS. Like, if your game runs at 30, or is it the other way around? Hold on. Display. Maybe it's only when you are at 30 FPS. You can use the height you get from an attack to make it up on here. There we go. But it only works on 30 FPS, because if it's on 60 FPS, the collision gets updated too frequently, because apparently the collision is done on a per frame basis, which is sure. You're not supposed to be able to get up here until much later in the game. You are supposed to be able to get up here, but only when you get high jump. So there's some items around here that... Hold on, did I fuck up? I fucked up. I needed to go around the other way. There's an item up there which is pretty good, I believe. There might be a form that you just email. Well, that also isn't too bad. It's still not ideal, but like I understand it to a certain extent. That's not what you do at all. It's been a while since I've been up here. Okay. Oh, don't fall down. There's no fall damage in this game, I know. Oh, so there's literally no reason for you to ever be up there. Okay. Cool. Good to know. Because you can get through here. Like, if the entire application process is just, hey, I agree to your terms, that can just be a button. Though I suppose that the whole point about like a EULA not being necessarily very legally binding is like if you have email contact with somebody about this, that then probably at that point is legally binding. I think you can also make this. I am so good at cheesing this game. I love it. I don't even know what I just got. I didn't even pay attention. What did I just get? I think that Alexa might have been one of those things. I don't know. Let's jump down. Oh, this is also another fun thing. You can just quit out of this. And it spawns you at the end, not restart, not back at the beginning. It's just one of those things, right? Don't jump off there. That's dumb. I feel like I'm forgetting one of the slides. I always forget this one. I'm glad I fell off, otherwise I would have forgotten it and I would have had to go back for it again. Now you can't play as any of the Disney characters. As a matter of fact, you can... Well, technically speaking, in Kingdom Hearts 2, in certain boss fights when you die, you can play as Mickey Mouse, who comes to save you. But he kind of sucks. And in Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, the DLC to Kingdom Hearts 3, there's also a section where you play as Mickey, where he takes on 13 bad guys at once by himself. There he doesn't suck. There he's actually quite good. It's a very Metal Gear kind of scene where you just like get absolutely fucking destroyed and Mickey Mouse almost dies. But aside from that, the Disney characters are only secondary team members. Don't you dare insinuate that Disney Infinity is better than Kingdom Hearts. They're both bullshit, but Kingdom Hearts is fun bullshit. Disney Infinity is just worse Skylanders. I think I'm supposed to go up to see the gorillas. But you know what? Let's do a little bit of platforming, because that's what this game excels at. Not. I don't know, I don't personally much like the whole like Skylanders format. I suppose if I had to choose between like on a IP basis, whether or not I would rather spend a lot of money on plastic figures of Disney characters or Skylanders, I'd probably go with Disney characters, to be fair. And even if we throw amiibos into the mix, like throw Nintendo in there as well, I probably would still pick Disney characters. But still kind of bullshit. Oh, you don't have to get the pieces if you get it on Steam. You just get all the characters. Okay, that is actually quite nice. That does improve things significantly. Still, from what I have seen, it's it doesn't look like particularly a very deep game. I feel like I'm not supposed to be going up here at the moment. Sabor, fuck off, I already killed you. I suppose some extra experience can't hurt. A little bit of experience, sure. But to be fair, I haven't seen that much footage of Disney Infinity either. So maybe it's better than I'm giving it credit for. I don't know. I don't really like Skylanders either, to be fair. The only reason that I would like Skylanders is because it has Crash Bandicoot in it now. And of course Spyro. But that's kind of also the reason I hate Skylanders, because Skylanders is the reason Spyro kind of like died off for 20 years. Because he kind of turned into Skylanders, and Spyro... Well, if I'm being entirely fair, Spyro was kind of on his way to the grave when he was turned into Skylanders. He wasn't turned into Skylanders when he was very successful and then got cancelled. Spyro had like 10 years of straight garbage games and then got rebranded into... Did I miss one of the slides? What the fuck is going on here? I'm not paying attention. Oh. I actually need to go through the slides. I didn't do that. Okay. I mean, if you like the game, you definitely should stream it and or make videos about it. That's 100% something cool to do, right? If you like something, you should share it. Okay, so now when I go up there will be gorillas, right? I just want cure, dude. I just want cure. I just want to be able to heal myself and not die against easy boss fights. Is that so much to ask for? That can't be too much to ask for, right? And now we go to the treehouse, and then we go beat up a lot of Heartless, and then we go beat up Clayton, and then we get Cure! I mean, if you stream Disney Infinity, I might pop in for a bit if I'm not busy, which is not that often. I'm quite busy quite often. Unfortunately. I wish I wasn't. Either working, streaming myself, making videos myself, or anything in between, really. Well, there's not that much more going on in my life than that. I also sleep and eat. Occasionally. But aside from that, I mean, the whole reason that I'm doing this here now is because I wanted to do research a little bit on the AI and the game feel, mostly the AI, of Kingdom Hearts. And I figured, you know what? If I'm going to do that anyway, I could turn it into content. And that's kind of how I live my life. If I'm going to do something, is there a reasonable way for me to turn this into content? Which ends up just turning into a lot of work. All the time. I had an idea about a year ago to start explaining Kingdom Hearts to one of my friends, and now that's turned into a podcast where I have to like rewatch entire 10-hour cutscene compilations, make notes, make screenshots, make an entire fucking PowerPoint of them, record it, edit those podcasts. What could have been just like a weekend of me bothering somebody has turned into a fucking year-long project. I would very much like a potion. Well, I do now. Because again, I was gonna do a thing, and then I figured I can turn this into content. And then I turn it into content, and then it turns out turning things into content is a lot of work. To be fair, part of that process is automated. I do have a plugin for Premiere Pro that cuts out all the all these silences from a recording, which, oh man, that's saved me so much time. When we record one of those things, it's like 2.5 to 3 hours of recording, and then like 40 minutes of that is just dead air, just empty space. I'm going the wrong direction, by the way. And that all gets cut out automatically. I only have to go over it at that point, and it's still about 2.5 hours long at that point, don't get me wrong. But I only have to go through and listen to the parts that I want to cut out, where I have to mute one of us while we're talking over each other. See if the plugin did a good job, or if it like cut me off at some point mid-sentence or in the middle of a word. Maybe I die, that kind of stuff. So that does save me a lot of trouble, the fact that that part of it is automated. But that's like... the entire production process for one of those podcasts is like somewhere in the range of 12 to 20 hours. The fact that I save an hour in cutting out dead air is nice because it's tedious to do, but in the entire process it doesn't really save me that much time, unfortunately. Just on YouTube at the moment, because it does, like, the way we do it, it very much does require, it heavily leans on the use of the images that I take for explaining the story, the screenshots that I take of the game. So it doesn't really work on a platform like Spotify or whatever Apple's podcast platform is. I think it's just iTunes, right? They don't have a separate podcast platform. It's just iTunes. It doesn't work as a audio only thing, so it's just on YouTube. And the funny thing is that with the amount of views that content gets, it's highly not worth it to invest like 20 hours into making one episode once a month. But it's fun. It just takes a fucking while to do, while I'm also working on a million other projects at the same time. So that's kind of how my brain works. This channel, I'll link it after the stream in Discord if I don't forget. And if I do forget, I'm sure you will remind me. So I'll link it. Where's the last fucking monkey? No, seriously, where is the last monkey? It's down here. I'm confused. I don't know. I personally think that podcasting is a little bit like a tiny bit overhyped. As in, there you are! Fucking hell! Just die. I'm gonna burn you to death. A very slow and painful death. For a very... oh, I didn't mean to do that. For a very annoying monkey. And this should get me to the last set of monkeys. And then I have to go back up again to the treehouse. Which is why I said I took the wrong route a moment ago. Oh, I never actually checked the AI that the Power Wilds have. I was so preoccupied with complaining about my life and how I make myself too busy. The Power Wilds spawn in more places. It's fine. Oh, and actually they spawn in this bamboo map as well. So let's actually check out what they do. Because I feel like they're just soldiers with different models. They just kind of hang about and then they jump attack towards you. Yeah, they just kind of hang out and they jump or slide attack towards you. Funny thing though is that the AI for these guys seems to not very much like normal walking. And most of the movement is actually done through attacks, which is what makes them more annoying than normal soldiers. Which checks out, because these guys are a fucking issue. Like, they're actually really annoying to deal with most of the time, because most of the time they are attacking, because attacking is their method of movement. That makes sense. In that regard, they are very close to the player, because the player also moves around a lot with attacking. Which is what makes it so satisfying to slice through hordes and hordes of enemies. I think live broadcasts are a lot easier to produce. But I do think that I personally don't like them as much. I don't have the magic to deal with you, but I'm gonna try anyway. Yeah, I don't have the magic to deal with you. But let's see. I don't have gravity. Come on. Come on, give me something different. Give me something different. No, I can't help you with that one. There we go. That's the wrong one. I have 2 magics and I fucked it up. These enemies are quite fun. But they're also infuriating. Okay, there's the last one. He's probably going to despawn in a minute anyway. Don't have magic for that. Come on, give me something. Come on. There we go. Now do that twice more before despawning, please. Okay. One more. I'm actually gonna get one of these. Wow. This early in the game. That's real good shit. I'm not gonna use that item because, again, I'm not gonna do any synthesis. Okay, when did I get a 3rd MP, by the way? Oh, we have to fight Sabor first, that's right. It's actually an interesting opportunity, because does he have significantly different AI in this fight compared to the first one? I don't think so. I think he just has one more move that he can do, which is jumping into the bamboo. But does he do that on his own, or only as a response to getting attacked? So I guess we'll never find out, because Tarzan just fucks up my experiment. Maybe I should have, like, installed a mod. Because, surely there's a Sora only mod for Kingdom Hearts, right? Which just takes away your team members? That would have been quite nice. All that said, everything that I'm noting here about the AI behavior of these enemies, I should also take into account that these AIs are designed with the idea in mind that there's always going to be more targets than just a player as well. And that might end up with things being slightly different too. Can you actually take out a boss fight for me? You can't. I have to be the one to... Thank you, Tarzan. I have to be the one to murder him. There we go. And we don't need to fight these power walls again, because again, I already looked at them. But I should note down that there's an enemy type that mostly only moves through attacking. Whenever I'm in a safe place to make notes again. Which is the pause menu, actually. And I realize that I have that. Power wilds mostly only move through attacking with root motion animation. I'm getting quite a few, like, pretty valuable pieces of information here. I fucking hate that. I think you can force yourself onto this hippo in much the same way that I did at the start of this world. If you swim at the right angle and you're at 30 FPS, you can actually make it onto that hippo. I am like 90% sure. But I'm not sure enough to try, so fuck me, I guess. No, I need to... Wait, can you not lock onto that thing? I thought you could lock onto it. Huh. I remember doing a Kingdom Hearts 1 randomizer, and this giving me so much trouble because the things that spawned in here were absolutely insane. Like, they were enemies that spawn in with the final boss battle, usually. That's a good angle to do this at, actually. There we go. It took me a while to get through that in the Kingdom Hearts 1 randomizer I did. Let's go beat up Clayton and actually get the spell that I've been wanting all this time. Which is Cure. And after that we're probably going to call it there for today. Because we've been live for about 2 hours. I think that's pretty good. By the time we finish that boss fight, it's probably going to be like 2.5 hours. And I do need to get up somewhat on time tomorrow, because there's going to be somebody here to check the boiler for maintenance. So I should not stay up too late playing Kingdom Hearts. And I've taken quite a few notes, and then next time we stream we'll do much more. This boss fight I'm going to not analyze too much, because this boss fight can go fuck itself, especially at my level. Tarzan, you were gonna heal me. Thank you very much for trying, but it just wasn't enough. Right now it's only 8:30, so I've got some time, but I also still want to, like, do some other stuff other than just streaming today. Because I do need to put on upload for a client, which I actually should be uploading right now, but I wanted to stream, so I actually did cancel that, but I do need to upload that before I actually turn off my PC tonight. Actually, I'm not going to turn off my PC tonight, am I? Because I need to re-download those Dropbox files. Doesn't matter. Let's go into my items and give myself some more potions. Maybe not an elixir, that's a bit overkill, but some potions would be nice. And I don't even need an ether, really. So just do potions. And then we exit the room. We re-enter the room, because that saves our inventory layout should we die again. And then we jump off here. And this time, at the start of phase 2 of this fight, immediately dodge roll away. Because otherwise, you'll be fucked. You'll still be fucked, but I'm a little bit less fucked, I guess. Maybe? Seems like it. Okay. Dealing good amount of damage against the stealth sneak, I think it's called. Okay. Now we can ignore that guy, because we only need to murder Clayton. So if I can get you into a corner where you can't do shit, and I can just juggle you, that would be fantastic. I'm very interested in a lot of... I hear some bad stuff. I'm very interested in, like, boss design and AI programming and stuff. Not for this fight. This fight can go fuck off. You know what? Actually, you're pretty close to death. Not close enough. Is that Clayton? That's Clayton I'm locked onto. Good. Why can Clayton jump so high? He's just a dude. He's not some magic demon dude. He's just a dude with a gun. Which, by the way, this is a Disney game with a gun in it. I just want to point that out real quick. I guess cell shading would work quite well here. I mean, it is pretty close to cell shading as it is, right? Just that this game is more or less unshaded. So having some cell shading might make it look nice. But it would also probably fuck with a lot of the art style for a lot of the Disney movies, which the game does anyway, because the world after this is Hercules and it doesn't look very good in 3D. Remarkably, Tarzan actually ends up looking pretty good compared to its movie counterparts, I think, in this game. Hercules, not as much. But if you cel shade everything, any semblance of it looking and feeling like the Disney movie goes to absolute shit. And I feel like Disney wasn't a huge fan of that idea. Probably. In Kingdom Hearts 2 you have a Pirates of the Caribbean world though, which looks just horrible because of course it's on a PS2 and it's real life looking humans. It's very uncanny valley. But maybe there's a cell shaded mod. I think for Kingdom Hearts 3 there's a lot more mods because of course it's made for an engine that is like not weird. So Kingdom Hearts 3 has quite a lot of mods. And there's a lot of like shader mods there as well because again it's just Unreal. It's very easy to just inject your own shit as a mod. Which leads us to the end of this world. That's because Kingdom Hearts 3 is a way more modern game running on Unreal Engine 4. That is actually the one game that has some actual shading going on, rather than just these are the models with the textures we made for them. And it's quite a good looking game, honestly. A game using cel shading wasn't really a thing until like the mid-2000s to early 2010s. When did Wind Waker come out? Because that is definitely the game that popularized it, and that wasn't the GameCube, so that would have been around this time. That was 2002. So that was early 2000s, and that's, yeah, that is around this time, so... Wind Waker is definitely the game that made it a popular art style to cel shade, and frankly, might have been the one to like invent the art style for like 3D rendering purposes. Of course, cel shading is supposed to like mimic the way anime looks, right? More or less, in like a shading way. All cartoons more broadly, but specifically anime has those very hard shading lines, where Western cartoons a little less. So it's supposed to mimic that. I don't know if there's any instances of it before Wind Waker, to be honest with you. There might be, but Wind Waker was like 2002, so that's the one that really made it popular, and there's probably a bit of a gap after that, where developers saw it and started developing their own games, but those didn't come out until 2005, 2006, because development cycles take 2-3 years. So about mid-2000s makes sense. Yeah, no, that does make sense. I know, this Kingdom Hearts is very anime in everything but, like, shading style. Jet Set Radio 2000 was the first game to use it fully. That makes sense. So then Wind Waker came shortly after that, like 2 years, almost 3 years after that, and made it a very popular art style, which is used to this day, honestly, in varying levels of success. But for now, we're going to save the game, and I'm going to end off the stream here. Next time we're going to do Olympus and some more Traverse Town stuff, and then we might be going to Agrabah, Aladdin, another art style that is not particularly well transferred into 3D. And when I think about it, this first game has a lot of classic 2D movies in 3D. That might have been the selling point of it at the time, honestly. I don't think a lot of the art styles translate particularly well. Again, especially Hercules, it doesn't translate at all. But it's been a fun 2 hours. I'm gonna leave it there for right now. I've got a good few notes to be taken into account when working on my own enemies. So that's good.